In this lesson, we are going to discuss how to write the equation of a circle and determine the center and the radius of a circle given its equation. Let's have a recall first about the definition of a circle. So here we have a circle plotted on a Cartesian plane, center at HK, and we have point XY. So based on the definition of a circle, it is the set of all points xy on a plane having the same distance from a fixed point called the center of the circle. So kahit pa saang ipwesto yung point P na to around the circle, pag kinuha natin yung distance niya from the center is always the same or fixed. And that distance between the center of the circle and any point on the circle is called the radius or R of the circle. So if we're going to get the length of point C to point P, this will be our radius. First, we need to have a recall on how to get the length of the radius using the distance formula if the circle is plotted on a Cartesian plane and its center is on the origin. So here we need to check the length of the radius from point 0, 0 to point 2, 2 using distance formula. Distance formula is d equals the square root of x sub 2 minus x sub 1 quantity squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 quantity squared. If we're going to solve the distance of the radius, we will going to let the origin, yung 0, 0 as x sub 1 and y sub 1, and let 2, 2 as our x sub 2 and y sub 2. And then we're going to plot it on our formula. So x sub 2 will be 2, x sub 1 will be 0, y sub 2 will be 2, and y sub 1 will be 0. And then simplify, 2 minus 0 is 2, 2 minus 0 is also 2. And then simplify again, 2 squared is 4. Then 2 squared is 4. So 4 plus 4, that is equal to 8. So to simplify, we need to factor 8. Hanap tayo ng dalawang factor niya na may perfect square, which is 4 and 2. So to get the square root of 8, yung 4 na factor niya, kunin mo yung square root niya, that will be 2. And then of course, yung 2 na isang factor, iwan mo lang sa loob ng radical symbol. So yung square root of 8 na measurement ng radius natin is the same as 2 square root of 2. Let's have another one. We need to find the length of the radius using the distance formula. But this time, the center of our circle is not on the origin. It is on point 1, 2. And then meron tayong isang point dito on the circle which is negative 2, 1. So we need to find the length of this radius using, of course, the distance formula. So let us let negative 2, 1 as our x sub 1 and y sub 1. Yung 1, 2 natin will be x sub 2 and y sub 2. And then plot it on our formula. X sub 2 will be 1, x sub 1 will be negative 2, y sub 2 will be 2, and y sub 1 will be 1. And then simplify, 1 minus negative 2, that is 3. 2 minus 1, that is 1. Then squared natin yung 3, that is 9. Squared natin yung 1, that is 1. So 9 plus 1 is equal to 10. So ang measurement ng radius natin dito is square root of 10. And square root of 10 is already simplified. Wala na tayong factor na pwedeng hanapin na meron siyang perfect square. So ano yung kinalaman ng ating distance formula sa pagkuha ng equation of the circle? Let's start with circle with center at the origin. So dito meron tayong circle plotted on a Cartesian plane na ang center niya is on the origin. So to solve for the distance of the radius or yung length ng ating radius, we're going to use the distance formula. We're going to let yung point 1 as 0, 0 and yung point 2 natin as xy. So yung xy natin, that will be our x sub 2 and y sub 2. Yung 0, 0 will be x sub 1 and y sub 1. I-plot natin sa ating formula. So we have r is equal to square root of x minus 0 quantity squared plus y minus 0 quantity squared. So pag sinimplify natin yan, magiging square root of x squared plus y squared. So para magmukhang simple, kunin natin yung square of this both sides para matanggal natin yung square root. So, pag in-square both sides, magiging r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. So, in short, yung equation of the circle with center at the origin is x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. On the other hand, kapag ang circle naman natin ay may center not at the origin, we have here another derivation gamit yung ating distance formula. So, ito yung ating circle which has a center at HK. So, we need to get the distance of the radius o yung length of the radius. So, let yung point 1 natin as our HK and point 2 natin as our XY. So, kapag plinat natin sa ating distance formula, yung HK natin will be our x sub 1 and y sub 1. Yung point XY natin will be our x sub 2 and y sub 2. So, pag plinat mo siya sa ating distance formula, magiging x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared, and then of course the square root. So, para magmukhang simple pa siya ulit, square natin both sides para matanggal tong square root natin. Then that will be r squared is equal to x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared. So, in short, yung equation ng circle natin with center not at the origin is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to r squared. Yung dinerive natin kaninang mga equation is what we call center radius form or standard form. So, we have center at the origin. Ang equation natin is x squared plus y squared is equal to r squared. Ang example natin dito, we have x squared plus y squared is equal to 9. So, kapag ganito yung format ng ating equation, it means ang center niya is at the origin or at 0, 0. Para makuha natin yung measurement ng radius, since r squared yung ating formula, r squared is equal to 9. So, to get the measurement of the radius, kunin mo lang yung square root ng 9. So, it means ang radius natin sa equation na to is equal to 3. And another center radius form is kapag ang center natin is at HK. That is x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared is equal to r squared. Yung h and k will represent our center, tapos yung r natin will represent our radius. And then we have here an example. We have x minus 3 quantity squared plus y plus 1 quantity squared is equal to 4. So, para makuha natin yung value ng h, kunin mo lang yung additive inverse ng negative 3, that is positive 3. Para makuha mo naman yung value ng k, kunin mo yung additive inverse ng positive 1, that is negative 1. So, it means 3 and negative 1 yung ating center. Tapos, yung radius natin, kunin mo lang yung square root ng 4, that is equal to 2. And now, we can expand our standard form to get the general form. So, from our center radius form o yung standard form natin, we're going to expand this equation using square of binomial formula or yung FOIL method natin. So, una, expand muna natin tong x minus h quantity squared. So, using a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, una natin gagawin, squared muna natin yung x. That will be x squared. And then, times natin yung x tsaka h. That is xh. And times 2 natin, that is negative 2hx. Then, next, squared natin yung h, that is equal to h squared. Na-expand na natin yung x minus h. So, sunod naman, expand naman natin yung y minus k quantity squared. So, squared mo muna yung y, that is y squared. Then, times 2 natin yung product ni y and k, that is negative 2ky. Then, squared mo yung k, that is k squared. And of course, yung r squared, lipat lang natin sa left side, magiging negative r squared. And equate natin siya sa 0. To make it simpler, ayusin natin yung ating equation. Unahin natin yung x squared and y squared. Tapos, i-isolate natin yung negative 2h at saka negative 2k. Yung h squared, k squared, saka r squared, ilagay mo na lang siya sa bandang dulo. These numbers are the constant of our equation. Then, we can let c is equal to negative 2h, d is equal to negative 2k, and yung e will be h squared plus k squared minus r squared. So to make it simpler, ang equation na natin in general form is x squared plus y squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equal to 0. Pinalitan na natin yung negative 2h ng c, yung negative 2k ng d, at yung h squared plus k squared minus r squared ng letter e. So take note of these formulas kasi later on gagamitin natin siya kapag mag-change na tayo from standard form to general form. Thus, the equation of a circle in general form is x squared plus y squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equal to 0, wherein yung c natin, d and e are real numbers. Pero take note that the numerical coefficient of x squared and y squared are both equal to 1. Yung mga number daw sa tabi ni x squared at saka ni y squared ay equal to 1. Since invisible, walang number dito, meron tayong invisible 1 na coefficient. Another thing is the value of the radius or r shall always be positive since yung radius natin is a line segment and distance siya, so it must always be positive. Another thing is the numerical coefficient of x squared and y squared can be possibly not equal to 1, but they must be equal and cannot be equal to 0. So, in short, pwede rin daw greater than 1 yung coefficient ng x squared and y squared, pero dapat sila ay laging equal. And, of course, they cannot be equal to 0. Kasi pag naging equal to 0 na yung coefficient ng x squared and y squared natin, it will not be an equation of a circle. Now, let's have some examples of equation of a circle in general form. So, first we have x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 10y plus 18 is equal to 0. So, dito ang coefficient ng x squared and y squared natin is equal to 1. So, para silang 1. Yung value ng c natin is negative 6. Remember, yung c, lagi siyang may kasamang x. So, negative 6 ang ating value ng c. Ang value ng d natin is negative 10. Lagi naman siyang may kasamang y. And yung constant natin will be our e. Next example, we have x squared plus y squared minus 8x is equal to 0. So, ito, equation pa rin ng circle. Yung coefficient ng x squared and y squared natin is equal to 1. At ang value ng c natin is negative 8. Wala tayong y na kasama. So, it means ang d natin is 0 and yung e natin is also 0. Another example, we have x squared plus y squared plus 2y minus 3 is equal to 0. Yung coefficient ng x squared and y squared natin equal pa rin. They are both 1. Tapos, wala tayong c kasi wala tayong variable na x dito. Meron lang tayong 2y, so it means ang value ng d natin ay 2. And we have here a constant, so ang value ng e natin is negative 3. Another example is 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 16x plus 24y minus 36 is equal to 0. So, kung mapapansin nyo, greater than 1 yung coefficient ng x squared and y squared natin, which is 4. So, pwede rin to, equation pa rin siya ng circle, as long as they are both equal. Tapos, yung c natin is negative 16 and yung d natin is 24 at ang e natin is negative 36. So, yan yung mga possible example of a general form of a circle. So, kung mapapansin, yung c, d, and e can be equal to 0. Pero, yung coefficient ng x squared and y squared cannot be equal to 0. Pwedeng maging greater than 1, pero lagi dapat silang equal. Now, let's determine the center and radius of the circle. So, let's have example number 1. Find the center and the radius of the circle which has an equation of x squared plus y squared is equal to 25. So, kung mapapansin natin, itong format na to, ang center niya is at the origin. Ito yung unang formula na dinerive natin kanina. So, it means yung center natin is at 0, 0. And to get the measurement of the radius, since yung 25 is r squared, so, we need to get the square root of r squared, same with 25. So, square root of r squared is r and square root of 25 is 5. It means yung radius natin is 5 units at ang center natin is at the origin or 0, 0. Let's have another example. Find the center and radius of a circle x sub 2 plus y minus 4 quantity squared is equal to 16. So, kung mapapansin, ang equation na to is, ang center niya is at hk. So, gawin natin siyang format na hk. Since ang given natin is x squared plus y minus 4 quantity squared equals 16, pwede natin siyang i-arrange as x minus 0 quantity squared plus y minus 4 quantity squared is equal to 4 squared. Since yung 16 natin, ang square root niya ay 4. At ang formula natin kanina, naka-r squared dapat to, kaya 4 squared siya. So, to get the value of h, kunin lang natin yung additive inverse ng neto, pero since 0 na siya, so that is simply 0. Dito naman ang additive inverse to solve for k, that is 4. And yung radius natin, that is equal to 4. So, ang hk natin o ang center of the circle is at 0, 4, and the radius is 4 units. Let's have another example. Find the center and radius of a circle whose equation is represented by x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 10y plus 18 equals 0. So, itong example na to is naka-general form. So, para ma-solve natin yung center and radius, pwede natin gamitin yung formula kanina nung nag-expand tayo ng ating general form. So, to solve for c, kanina, c, sinubstitute natin siya sa negative 2h. So, we can solve for h by dividing both sides by negative 2. So, we have h is equal to c over negative 2. And ang value ng c natin sa equation is negative 6. So, we have negative 6 divided by negative 2. That is equal to 3. Ito na yung value ng h natin. Then next, to solve for k, we can use d equals negative 2k. So, kanina, sinubstitute natin yung d sa negative 2k nung nag-expand tayo. And to solve for k, divide both sides by negative 2. We have k is equal to d over negative 2. Ang value ng d natin sa equation is negative 10. So, we have negative 10 divided by negative 2. That is equal to positive 5. So, alam na natin yung value ng k natin. So, it means ang center natin is at 3, 5 or 0.35. Now, kailangan isolve naman natin yung radius using the formula for e. Remember yung h squared plus k squared minus r squared kanina na nung nag-expand tayo ay pinalitan natin siya ng letter e. So, to solve for r, we can derive r squared is equal to h squared plus k squared minus e from this equation. So, substitute natin yung na-solve natin na h and k and yung value ng e natin which is 18 dito sa equation na to. So, we have 3 squared plus 5 squared minus 18. 3 squared is 9, 5 squared is 25, minus 18, that is equal to 16. So, 16 is only our r squared. So, para ma-solve natin yung r, get the square root of 16, that is equal to 4. So, ang radius natin is equal to 4. And since ito na yung ating center, 3, 5, and ang radius natin ay 4, we can also plot it on a center radius form gamit yung value ng h natin, k and r squared. We can now have our new equation, x minus 3 quantity squared plus y minus 5 quantity squared is equal to 16. Now, let's have another example. Find the center and radius of a circle whose equation is represented by 4x squared plus 4y squared minus 16x plus 24y minus 36 is equal to 0. So, kung mapapansin natin, yung coefficient ng x squared and y squared natin is not equal to 1. That is equal to 4. Pero bago tayo mag-simplify or mag-change sa center radius form or bago mag-identify ng center and radius, let's make sure na magiging equal to 1 yung ating coefficient. So, para magawa yun, i-divide natin yung buong equation sa 4. So, 4 divided by 4, that is 1. 4 divided by 4 is also 1. Negative 16 divided by 4 is negative 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. And negative 36 divided by 4 is negative 9. 0 divided by 4 is 0. So, we have now our new equation, x squared plus y squared minus 4x plus 6y minus 9 equals 0. So, using this new equation, pwede na tayo mag-solve ng value ng h natin. Using again yung c is equal to negative 2h or h is equal to c over negative 2, wherein yung value ng c natin is negative 4. So, negative 4 divided by negative 2, that is positive 2. Ito na yung value ng h natin. Then using d is equal to negative 2k, or k is equal to d over negative 2, substituting the value of d, which is positive 6. So we have 6 divided by negative 2, that is negative 3. So ang center na natin is 2, negative 3, yung na-solve natin na value ng h and k. Next naman, solve natin yung value ng r squared using yung formula ng e kanina, or yung r squared is equal to h squared plus k squared minus e. Substitute natin yung value ng h at saka yung k na na-solve natin, which is 2 and negative 3, and of course yung e natin, which is negative 9 dito sa ating formula. So we have 2 squared plus negative 3 squared minus negative 9. That will be equal to 22. Pero itong 22 na to, that is already r squared. So to solve for the radius, get the square root of 22. That is square root of 22. Ito na yung measurement ng radius natin. And kapag nilagay siya sa center radius form, we have x minus 2 quantity squared plus y plus 3 quantity squared is equal to 22. Now let's write the equation of a circle. So let's have example. Write the equation of the circle in center radius form whose center is 6, 7 and contains the point 25. So since wala tayong radius dito, meron lang tayong center which is 6, 7 at point on the circle which is 25, we need to solve for the radius using the distance formula. So we have this, yung distance formula natin. Let natin yung x sub 2 tsaka y sub 2 as yung ating point 25, tapos yung x sub 1, y sub 1 natin is yung center which is 6, 7. So pag plinat, ito na siya, 2 minus 6 quantity squared, 5 minus 7 quantity squared. So 2 minus 6 is negative 4, 5 minus 7 is negative 2. Squared natin yung negative 4, that is equal to 16, and square mo yung negative 2, that is 4. So 16 plus 4, that is equal to 20. Or r is equal to square root of 20. So ito na yung measurement ng radius natin. Then next, we can now simplify yung 20 natin. Ang factor niya is 4 times 5. So para makuha yung simplified square root of 20, square root mo muna yung 4, that is equal to 2, and iwan mo yung 5 na factor niya sa loob ng square root. Now, since na-solve na natin yung radius natin kanina, which is square root of 20 or yung 2 square root of 5, we can now plot our center on the center radius form. Yung center natin na 6, 7, therefore, yung h natin is equal to 6 and yung k natin is equal to 7. So, from the center radius form na x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared, isubstitute na natin yung h na 6 at yung 7 na, yung k na 7. So, we have now x minus 6 quantity squared plus y minus 7 quantity squared is equal to 20. Ito yung r squared na na-solve natin kanina dun sa pag-solve ng radius using distance formula. Pero take note, since positive yung h and k natin, at from the formula na negative, pag plinag in mo siya, magiging x minus 6 siya. Same dito sa y minus 7. So, lagi lang tatandaan, additive inverse siya yung value ng h and k natin from the given equation. Let's have another example. Write the equation of the circle in general form with center at negative 5, negative 4, and radius of 3 units. So, general form tayo. Pero ang una natin gagawin, meron tayong center at saka radius. So, pwede natin siyang i-plot using the center radius form. Wherein, yung h natin is negative 5, yung k natin is negative 4, and yung r natin is 3. So, using center radius form, yung x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared equals r squared, pwede nating isubstitute yung h natin and k. We have x minus negative 5 quantity squared plus y minus negative 4 quantity squared equals 3 squared. So, pag sinimplify mo tong x minus negative 5, magiging x plus 5 siya. Same with y minus negative 4, magiging y plus 4 siya. And 3 squared is equal to 9. So, ito na yung ating center radius form. Pero, kailangan pa natin siya i-convert sa general form. Now, i-convert na natin siya sa general form yung equation natin kanina. So, using the center na negative 4 tsaka radius na 3, we can now use c is equal to negative 2h. So, h is negative 5. So, negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10. And d is equal to negative 2k. So, we have negative 2 times negative 4 yung value ng ating k. That is equal to 8. And yung e natin is equal to h squared plus k squared minus r squared. Substitute lang natin yung value ng h and k. Same with the radius. So, we have negative 5 squared plus negative 4 squared minus 3 squared. Negative 5 squared is 25. Negative 4 squared is 16. 3 squared is 9. So, 25 plus 16 minus 9 is equal to 32. So, from the value of c na 10, d na 8, at e na 32, we can now write our general form, which is x squared plus y squared plus 10x plus 8y plus 32 is equal to 0. Ito na ngayon yung general equation natin, which has a center of negative 4, negative 5, and radius of 3.